Hi, everyone. Welcome to the OACAC Virtual College Fair with Colorado College. Just a few reminders before we get started. To ask questions for the event, please use the Q&A button and the presenter will be able to answer any of your questions there. Your microphone and camera are both off, so the presenter cannot see or hear you. So again, making sure that you're using the Q&A feature on your Zoom to be able to ask any questions that you have. If you'd like to sign up for any additional sessions, you can do so at oacac.org, and you will also be able to find recording of this presentation at the same website, oacac.org, within about 1 week. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the presenter, and they will be able to tell you all about Colorado College.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's great to have you here. Let me just going to just share my screen. There we go. So let me see if we've got anyone here. So we don't have anyone here yet, but you know what I'm going to do? I am going to just go ahead and get started because I know that some folks might come in a minute or two late. Maybe we'll give it a minute, but I'm really excited to talk with you today about Colorado College. A wonderful, wonderful college in Colorado. So let me go ahead and get started. I know the recording will be available if students couldn't attend, but we'll just go through and learn a little bit about our location, our people, our programs, what makes Colorado College distinctive. Certainly one of the things that makes Colorado College distinctive is that we're the only liberal arts college in Colorado. So if you're looking for a small institution with very attentive faculty, really wonderful peers from all over the US and all over the world, I think Colorado College could be an absolutely great place for you. So look forward to telling you more. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're about 2 minutes after the hour, so I think I'll go ahead and get my slides going. And I'll even offer some questions that I think students might typically ask me when I do my presentation. So let me just, sorry, my internet's a little slow this morning. Let me move to my first slide. So welcome, I'm Karen Christoph. I'm the Dean of Admission at Colorado College. I work with all students, of course, as the Dean of Admission, but I do have a few states that I work with, and Ohio is one of them. So I'm very excited to be with you virtually. I am in Colorado at the moment, but excited to think about all of you that are in Ohio. We're going to talk about academics. We're going to talk about the block plan, which is certainly one of the things that makes CC distinctive. And we're going to talk about admission and financial aid. So let us start with the location. Oops, let me just go back. Sorry, I wanted to, oh boy, my you know how it is some mornings, presentation, it's a little bit earlier in Colorado. My presentation doesn't want to quite work the way that it should, but this is an example of geography, right? This is just to remind you where Colorado is. So I know that you know where Ohio is. But there in the blue is Colorado. We're just a little bit north of New Mexico. And so we are in the Rocky Mountain West. We are at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains at 6,000 feet above sea level. We are in, and let me just show you a little bit more in terms of location. We are in the city of Colorado Springs. So the top left is Denver, which is the state capital, about 3 million people. We're about an hour and 10 minutes from Denver. And then in the bottom left, you can see a photo of our beautiful, beautiful mountains. I mean, this is why people come to Colorado for vacation, but it's also gets to be your playground, the foothills of the Rocky Mountains if you come to Colorado College. The middle photo is of a place called Josh and John's, which is a favorite ice cream place of Colorado College students right in downtown Colorado Springs. So I think that one of the coolest things about CC is that we both have an urban feel and we also have something of a small town feel. Let me just go back here. And so we are located in the foothills of the Rockies. You know, the Rocky Mountains and Pikes Peak, where we are in particular, is one of 58 14ers, 14 mountains that are 14 feet or higher in Colorado. So we enjoy this really beautiful setting, 300 miles of hiking and biking trails in the city of Colorado Springs. And we are a legitimate city, 400,000 people in Colorado Springs, 700,000 in the metropolitan area. And yet, the mountains are your playground. So you can go downtown, have ice cream. We're about a mile from downtown Colorado Springs, which has its kind of urban advantages. And then you can be out in the great outdoors. So I think we have something of the best of both worlds when it comes to our locations, something that students certainly appreciate when it comes to Colorado College. And there we are in Colorado Springs. Then we have two remote resources for students. One is the CC Cabin. So it's about 50 miles west of Colorado Springs. So you can go there with a class, go there with a club or organization for the day. And then our Baca campus, which is a little bit further south and west in Crestone, Colorado. And the Baca campus has a dining hall, has a dorm. It's a really cool remote area, really beautiful. So you could do like a multi-day class there, a club or an activity. And the really cool thing about Crestone is that there's very little light pollution. So you can imagine astronomy classes just go crazy being able to see the sky and not having it impaired by city views. So there's a little bit about the class that just entered CC, a little bit about where they come from. So 31% identify as students of color, 8% international, 13% first gen, 57% women. They come from all over the US, which is really cool, as well as, of course, outside the US. 22% from Colorado, that's a pretty high number for us. It has often not been the case that we've had that many Colorado students, but we're working really hard to attract students, not only from all over everywhere, but from our home state. So that's a little bit more about our population. We are definitely one of those amazing small liberal arts colleges, really high first year to sophomore retention rate, 10-to-1 student faculty ratio. Average class size is 16, and we actually cap classes at 25. So you will never see a class larger than 25 at CC unless two professors are teaching it. And if two professors are teaching it, then it actually would be kept at 32. So you will never see a class of 60 or 70 or 100 or 150, right? It really is just that really wonderful sort of engaged student body. And our professors are highly accomplished, both as teachers and in their fields. So let's walk through some of the requirements. So you start Colorado College with a first year sequence called CC 100 and CC 120. FYP, first year program. These two classes are related. And what they're intended to do is give you a sense for the kind of expectations in research and inquiry and writing and communication that'll be expected of you in college. Then you need to do 6 classes across the liberal arts, 2 classes that deal with equity and power. This is a new requirement at CC, and I think really reflects our times, right? Looking at issues of justice and injustice, looking at issues of race, looking at issues of access, critical engagement through language. And then overall, you'll be doing 32 units at CC. We have over 80 majors and minors. Here are some things that are popular at CC. Southwest Studies, very distinctive program at CC. We've got students that are doing environmental science, sustainability, business and economics are popular, biology, psychology, political science. And then while you will never see a major called pre-med or pre-business, we certainly are preparing students exceptionally well to be successful in graduate school. So here is the meat of what makes CC distinctive, the block plan. So the year is divided into 2 semesters, and then each semester is divided into 4 blocks. So at CC, you take 1 course at a time. A professor teaches 1 course at a time for 3.5 weeks. So you start and finish your class in 3.5 weeks. So you do not need to be distracted by the other classes you're taking. You don't need to be worrying about, oh my gosh, I studied for this exam and I couldn't do my homework for my other class. It's a really deep dive, really immersive, focused 3.5 weeks in a subject that you love. So you and your classmates, remember, if it's 1 professor, no bigger than 25, 2 professors, no bigger than 32. Your classmates, your professor, you are a unit. You are working in that 3.5 weeks to delve very deeply into a particular subject. This is not about how much can we cram in your heads in 3.5 weeks, but it's really getting an opportunity to kind of meet the subject and to ask big questions, right? It also means that you are basically in class 3 or 3.5 hours a week, from 9 to 12 or 9 to 12:30, 5 days a week. There are some lab and studio courses, of course, that have an afternoon component, but basically you'll be in class in the morning, you'll break for lunch, and then you'll do a lot of homework actually, because the class pace is so quick. You'll probably be doing 3.5 hours or 4 hours of academic work in the afternoons. And then you'll have time to enjoy our beautiful setting, club sports, recreational sports, clubs, organizations, anything that you might want to find. It's interesting. Our students love academics 1 course at a time, love the idea of delving deeply into one subject, but they're like every other college student when it comes to what they like to do outside of class. club sports and writing for the newspaper and engaging in music and working on political causes, right? So there's a whole wide range of things that students do outside the classroom. So we start with block one, and remember block one and block two, when you're a first year student, that's your first year sequence. In between blocks, we have a 4.5-day block break. So think of block break as a time to exhale. 3.5 really intense weeks. You're doing a lot of really great academic work, and then you get 4.5 days off. But what's cool about those 4.5 days off is that you have done your class. You have finished, right? So your 3.5 weeks start to finish. Maybe you have a final exam. Maybe you have a set of papers that you have to do. Maybe there is something that is a culminating kind of work for the class, but that is all done. Put down your books, enjoy this beautiful setting, just watch Netflix and do your laundry, whatever you want to do. Block break is yours to enjoy. Then we go into block two, another 3.5 weeks, 4.5-day block break. We have block three. Then we have fall break, which is essentially Thanksgiving break. And then the block ends. And then we repeat it for the second semester. We do have some half blocks. And this year, because of COVID, full block options in January for students that wanted to start at kind of different times of the year. So you have the opportunity to get your 8 classes in. And in fact, this year with COVID, we're offering more blocks, so 11 blocks. And we're this year in a kind of a mixture. We're doing some classes remotely, some classes as a hybrid. We do have some students on campus, and we will be bringing more students back to campus for second semester. Students, seniors that want to finish in person, students that are doing classes that require them because they're doing research or a thesis, or required to be on campus because it's a class that has a lab component. So that's the block plan. It's been around at Colorado College for 50 years. So it's something that we know is very tried and true, and we're really excited about it and what it gives our students. So block breaks. There are lots of things that students can do in block breaks. There are trips like this outdoor education trip. There's the opportunity just to relax, to do community service. Students are, engaged in volunteer work. Students are, hanging out with their friends. There's so many things that you can do. The block breaks are really yours, that 4.5-day period to exhale. Oh, and I'm just going to go through a couple more block breaks. Kayaking. Oh, so this is really cool. A 50-year anniversary of both the block plan and the Aspen bike trip. So biking to Aspen from Colorado Springs. For those of you not familiar with the territory, it's 156 miles over Independence Pass. So the elevation gets really high, but it's a really fun way to check out Colorado in the fall. You bike out, you camp along the way, you camp one night when you get there, but then we actually take you back in a bus. So that is a really cool feature of being able to see Colorado. There's an art class that you could do as kind of an adjunct, visit a national park in Utah, or just stay on campus and sleep. So a lot of great options. There's also internships that you can explore through the block break. Oh boy, my slides are going very slowly today. Let me see if I can move on to the next one. Oh, okay, let me do this another way. Oh, there we go. And then the other really great thing about Colorado College and the one course at a time is field study, right? So imagine that because your classmates, your professor are just doing that class during that 3.5-week block, imagine being able to explore, not just being outside, right? So this is a geology class, but being able to transport your class from Colorado Springs to a location that will help enhance your learning. So let me give you a couple examples. That's geology. This is a Southwest Studies course that is in Ana Pueblo, New Mexico. Ecology class. Globalization of immigration, which is a really popular sociology class at CC that spends 10 days of the block on the US-Mexico border looking at issues of immigration. Intro to journalism in DC. So students that are learning how to be teachers, they're doing a half block teaching elementary school science in a elementary school, in a rural elementary school is what I meant to say. Archaeology class. And then a really great class on the economics of higher education that looks at funding for education, and they do a trip to the state capitol in Denver to do advocacy work. Let me move on to the next one. So the other possibility for the block system is that you can do a block abroad. So we certainly have opportunities for students to be able to, do a traditional semester or a traditional year if they want to study abroad. But the block plan also makes it possible to do your 3.5 weeks abroad. So this is an economics class that's looking at coffee marketing in Nicaragua. This is a class that's following the path of Odysseus in the Greek poem, The Odyssey. So basically they're sailing in Greece, which looks very cool. Psychology class in Italy. Anthropology and history in Paris. A music and Asian studies class that's looking at the art and culture of Bali. And then religion and classics class in Israel. Music and German class following Bach. In the following footsteps of Bach, Kierkegaard in Copenhagen for a philosophy class. And then there are these 2 block sequences that are very cool. So combining not just one block, but putting 2 blocks together. So that's about 7 weeks of class. And then you've got that block break in between to make it even longer. But CC in China and CC in Russia is our other really popular 2 block sequence. There's the Patagonia trip for a block abroad, and then Shakespeare in London. So let me just show some of these. Lots of opportunities to do research. There's some grants for entrepreneurial competitions. There's some opportunities to do research in lots of different areas and funding from professors to do a thesis, to work on a project with a professor, to work on your own idea. That's what the Keller Venture Grant is, and the Britt Kellogg Expedition Grant, to really come up with your own idea that you want to test, working with particular populations overseas, working on a problem in the US. We have a really robust career center that prepares students exceptionally well. 70% of our students complete an internship, and some students, because 80% with our real flexibility and study abroad, 80% of our students are either doing a block abroad, a semester abroad, or a year abroad. So often internships can be completed there. And then we have lots of great resources for our students: an advising hub, quantitative resources center, and a writing center. So here's an example. I mean, we send students everywhere when it comes to graduate school and careers. And I think the combination of this really intensive focus within the block plan, the great resource at the Career Center, the opportunity to study abroad, the opportunity to explore an internship through what we call tiger tracks, which I just showed you on the other slide. Our mascot is the tiger, so a lot of our things are cubs and tiger related. These are the sort of things that really help our students be successful in graduate school and in careers, right? So wherever they go, they know how to focus on a problem. They know how to investigate very deeply. What a 3.5 week class teaches you is you got to get going, you've got to get started, you've got to launch right away. And you've really got to know how to approach something difficult and do so in a very concentrated, focused way. And over the years, we know, as we celebrate the 50th year of the block plan at Colorado College, we know that that's an effective way to teach, because we know our alums have been quite successful in their careers. We use one of 3 applications to apply to CC: the QuestBridge application, the Common application, or the Coalition application. We are in our 2nd year of being standardized test optional. So you can submit the ACT or the SAT, or you don't have to, right? We were test optional before COVID, during COVID, and we will be test optional after COVID. For us, it's really about what you've accomplished in the classroom, the rigor of the courses you've taken, the grades that you've achieved, the patterns of your achievement. We're really looking for students who will be excited about immersing themselves in this block plan. We use the application essay that comes along with one of the application platforms, and we also have a YCC question as our supplemental question. Obviously, you should probably say something about the block plan in your supplemental question. There's a little tip for you. We're excited to see what students have done outside the classroom. We do know there's been some disruptions with COVID, but want to know what you want to become engaged in when you're at Colorado College, and want to see that you've done that in high school, whatever that might look like: clubs, activities, things you've been involved with family, with religious organizations, with service, whatever it might be. 2 letters of recommendations from teachers and a letter from your school counselor. Interviews are not required, but we are offering them to students. We have now finished our interviews for our early decision 1 and our early action students, because that deadline is actually this week. week, but we would welcome students who might want to have a virtual interview for our ED2 round or our regular action round or our fall transfers. The interviews are being offered by admission fellows, we call them, who are mostly Colorado College seniors, some juniors, and we also have the opportunity for alum interviews. So if that's something that you want to do and you're applying in the ED2, RA, or fall transfer round, check out our website. We'd be happy to give you information about that. Here's a little bit about our admission statistics. You can see as a first-year student, there is tremendous advantage to applying early decision or early action. So if that's in the cards for you, we'd be happy to talk to you more about what those possibilities would be. But you can see that particularly early decision 1 and early decision 2, we admit at a higher rate, and then early action and then regular action. Here's some examples of our middle 50% range for test scores, but do know last year 28% of the class did not submit testing. That was in our first year of being test optional. And we anticipate this year with COVID and limited opportunities for testing that in fact there will be in fact many fewer students who will submit testing. And finally, a little bit about financial aid. We meet 100% of demonstrated financial need. We use the FAFSA and the CSS profile, as well as other documentation that might be required based on your family's circumstances. I know Colorado College, very expensive private liberal arts college. And one of the things we want to emphasize is we do offer need-based financial aid to over 40% of our students. And so you might want to check out our net price calculator or another tool called My Intuition, which would give you a sense for, you put in some information about your family's financial circumstances and a sense for what CC might cost you. Not a guarantee for what you'll get in financial aid, but just a sense for whether CC would be financially realistic. And we do make it possible for a lot of students to be able to attend CC by meeting 100% of demonstrated need. We are need aware in the admission process, so we can't admit all the students that we want to, particularly those with high need. But once we admit you and you have finished all of the financial aid paperwork, we want to make it possible for you to enroll by meeting all of your need. I'm going to pass over the Colorado aid stuff. We do have some merit-based aid, some leadership, trustee, and presidential scholarships, which are general merit, only require you to submit your admission application. We'd let you know if you were eligible at the time of admission. And then we work with a foundation that sponsors the Barnes Scholarship, which is for students who are interested in STEM. And that does require a separate application. So there's more information about that on our website. And then we do have 17 NCAA sports at CC, 2 are Division I, men's hockey and women's soccer. So they have athletic scholarships. Our Division III, 15 Division III sports, in fact, don't have athletic scholarships because that is the nature of Division III. So here's a little bit about financial aid. I'm just going to linger on this slide for about 30 seconds or so you can absorb it. Again, meeting 100% of need, 41% of the students receiving grants from the college, and a little bit about, primarily our award packages, our grant, a little bit of loan and some work study, and some information about our average net price by family income. So based on where your family income is, what you might anticipate in terms of what CC might cost you. So again, I'll linger on that a little bit. This information is also available on the financial aid website. Some next steps, build your own block. So we have a tool on our website where you can, in fact, try out your hand at building your first year block plan. We have some real classes there, and you can kind of think about what your first year at CC might look like and why you made those particular choices. So that's sort of a fun tool. We have a preliminary application that we use for seniors for transfer. So if you haven't submitted the preliminary application to CC, that's what we prefer that you do first. Kind of starts a file for you once you submit the pre-app, and then you can do the Coalition Common App Request Bridge. And then just a reminder quickly about our deadline. So our ED1 and early action are coming up very quickly in just a few days, and then our early decision 2 and our regular action over the winter, and then our fall transfer. So I'm sort of getting to the end here, but I'm just going to illuminate. Sorry, I meant to illuminate. I meant to illuminate Ohio, and I illuminated Pennsylvania because my finger was a little too fat there. So there I am in Ohio as your representative. So kchristoff@coloradocollege.edu. So if you have any questions whatsoever, I would love to chat with you, love to answer any questions that you might have. So just let me know what I can do to help. So I'm going to get to my last slide. Oops. here. And that is my last slide. Actually, I thought we were going to do one more, but let me stop there. It has been a really great pleasure to record this session, to have the opportunity for you to learn more about CC. In ending, I think one of the things that students often ask me about the block plan is, what is the transition like? And certainly it is the case that the block plan is so distinctive within the educational realm. And I think our students really, it does take a little bit of time, which is why the first year program eases you into the block plan with those first 2 classes you take as a first year student. But in general, I think our students love that immersive focus, that opportunity to be very, just be able to concentrate on that particular class. It really is such an effective way to learn, such an effective way to master, material that is complicated. Our alums tell us that, what they did when they were at CC prepared them well, right? They don't get too daunted by a complicated task. They don't get too daunted by a tight deadline. They are used to navigating within tight deadlines. So that, 3.5 weeks could not be a tighter deadline when it comes to the kind of work that you need to do within a 3.5 week period. So I think Colorado College has definitely been a place where students feel sort of very engaged. And now my colleague Darius is on the call. So I'll let him just wave and say hi, but we're actually finishing up, Darius. We ended up recording this session because our participants couldn't join. So this was just a recording, but my wonderful colleague, Darius Pardner, who was here, and both of us are really excited. If you have questions about Colorado College, would love to engage with you, would love to talk with you about whatever you might be wondering about. But do know Colorado College, a wonderful, warm, engaged community that's going to prepare you really well for your life ahead. So on that note, thank you very much for your time. I know we didn't have anybody live today, but we're really excited to have recorded this session and to be ready to answer your questions in the future. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our facilitator from Ohio ACAC and wish you all well in your college process. And big thanks to my colleague, Darius.
Thank you both for attending. And just for everyone's reference, there is a quick survey. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, there's 4 questions. You can sign up for additional sessions at oacac.org. And this recording will be available at that same website, oacac.org, within about 1 week. Thanks everyone for attending and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Peace. Take care, Darius. Thank you. So nice to meet you. Thanks for your help. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Yep. Take care. Bye.
You too.